fact that prior to his appearance before the Commission last time, the former President had asked that he be furnished with the questions that he would be asked once he was on the witness stand, and that I, as chairperson, had made a decision to refuse that he be furnished with questions in advance. The article goes on to say that the Commission had sent Mr. Zuma's lawyers 11 pages with 80 questions. When you read the whole article, it certainly gives the impression that the Commission has changed its decision on the question of whether Mr. Zuma should be furnished questions before he appears before the Commission. Since then, I think another newspaper has published the same article. The fact of the matter is, the Commission has not sent Mr. Zuma's lawyers any questions. There is a document which has 11 pages, and I saw that in the article there's a reference to 11 pages. There is a document with 11 pages that was sent by Mr. Paul Pretorius to counsel for Mr. Zuma. That document contains areas of interest in the various affidavits that had previously been given to Mr. Zuma as the affidavits from which questions would arise. That document was in accordance with the agreement that was reached on the 19th of July 2019, which was the last day of Mr. Zuma's appearance before the Commission that week. The terms of that agreement were announced publicly by myself. Counsel for Mr. Zuma and the head of the Commission's legal team, Mr. Pretorius, were asked after I had announced the terms to confirm whether those were the terms of the agreement. They stood up here in public and confirmed that those were the terms of the agreement. anyone who listened to the terms of the agreement as I announced them, or anyone who wishes to listen to the recording of that day, will know that there was nothing to say Mr. Zuma would be sent questions. That same day, after the proceedings had been adjourned, some of the TV stations began to say in their reporting that the Commission was now going to send Mr. Zuma questions. And some of them were raising questions as to why he had not been given questions when he had asked for them before the hearing. Either the same day or the following day, but I believe the same day, the Commission issued a media statement clarifying this, that the terms of the agreement did not include that Mr. Zuma would be given questions in advance that he would be asked when he takes the witness stand. I am aware that one or more of the TV stations did correct and said, no, we got it wrong. The arrangement is not that he's going to be given questions. One would have thought that with that background, it would have been clear that the Commission still stood on the position that the former president would not be given questions in advance, that he would be asked once he takes the witness stand. Subsequent to me being aware of this article in the Business Day, I asked Mr. Paul Pretorius to please give me the document once again that he had sent to counsel for Mr. Zuma. And before that, he told me that there were no questions that he had sent. He gave me the document again, and I couldn't see any questions. All I could see was an indication of areas in various affidavits or incidents or events in which the legal team was saying they were interested so that he could deal with those issues in the affidavits contemplated in the agreement that I announced. I thought it's important that I set the record straight because I don't know why, on the basis of the document that we know, it is said that we have sent questions to Mr. Zuma, when a mere reading of the document will show that really there are no questions. I will cause that document to be released to the public, either today or the latest tomorrow, so that the public can see for itself that there were no questions that were sent. That's the 11-page document that I'm talking about. I don't know whether there might be an 11-page document elsewhere that has been manufactured by somebody else and has presented it to the media as coming from us, the Commission. But the 11-page document that we have doesn't give Mr. Zuma questions it indicates the areas on which questions will arise, but not the actual questions. We appeal to the media to please just check their facts and to be fair to everybody, including the Commission. I spoke sometime earlier this year about an article that had been published by the Sunday Independent in regard to Mr. Nombembe, who is head of the Commission's investigation team, where in the article it was alleged that, or somebody had alleged that he had done certain things because he wanted to be appointed as NDPP. And I said then, I can't understand how any newspaper would publish that story when the editor must know, and I would have expected the journalist concerned to have known, that to be NDPP, you need to have at least a legal degree. And Mr. Nombembe doesn't have a legal degree. He's an auditor. But that was published. I think that the media must realize that when they don't check their facts properly, or when they do some things that are difficult to understand to the ordinary reader, that might give rise to all kinds of suspicions. And we don't need any unnecessary suspicions to be associated with the media. The media plays a very important role, and they need to be respected. Their rights need to be respected. Journalists do, generally speaking, a very good job. Society relies on them. We would like to be able to know that they do their job with the necessary professionalism. So we just ask that we be treated fairly as the Commission, just like we say everybody should be treated fairly. But in order to make sure that the side of the story of the Commission is known, arrangements will be made for us. We'll make arrangements to release the document that was sent to the lawyers for the former president, the only 11-page document that I know about that will be released. Thank you very much.